right, little show open to get things going here on a Tuesday. It is time to brunch with Bud. You see him right there, Bud Poliquin, my old partner. No Boy Green today, as he is in travel mode, but he'll be joining us for many of the other interviews throughout this week. But Bud, happy Tuesday to you. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Thanksgiving week's always nice. You know, family, friends, pretty decent food. If you're fortunate,
Yes, it is.
if you're fortunate enough to have family, friends, and decent food,
Time to give thanks.
uh,
Not bad.
so it'll be nice. And we got snow coming. Apparently, it could be an interesting.
Oh, a little white Thanksgiving.
Yeah, could be,
I
could be
wasn't dreaming of
difficult.
a white Thanksgiving, but
Yeah,
turkey, yes. Stuffing, sure.
and I apologize as I did last week. I thought I'd shave for you, but uh,
Yeah, no doubt.
I
You're in the retired mode. It's all right, man.
yeah, you
Goes
know,
scruffy.
I'm looking scruffy, and I don't want people to think that I'm down on my luck or anything.
Well,
Uh,
Boy Green's on the verge of shaving his beard down to at least probably a little more than you have. So he's not doing a complete buzz, but he's doing a complete, down to the nubs essentially because
yeah, well,
he
he
lost a
should.
bet. The Jets lost 2 straight games, so he bet a viewer on his Boy Green Daily show.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's a bet loss. So very similar, Bud, to it brings back memories of me and you and a game against
Uh,
Temple for Syracuse football, and you opening your big mouth a
yeah,
little bit too much, and then
yeah.
that led to an entire event where we had a guy who, basically groomed horses come in at a public event and buzz you down to a crew cut. So that was
Yes,
pretty
he
cool.
did.
A bet that you lost and owned up to. So Boy Green is owning up to his bet, as bad as it might have been to take that bet. And so he'll be down to, he's not going to go completely down to nothing, but he's going to go from obviously the very, very fluffy beard that he has now to a very close shaven beard. He'll grow it back, of course, but he's a
I
man
hope
of his
not.
word. He's going to stick to it. So,
I hope
uh,
not. Listen,
yeah, so that's what's going on.
speaking of big mouths, I had a big mouth last show because I said,
What'd you
and
say?
boy,
You
do I
screwed
look
up.
like a fool. What I
Uh-oh.
said is
You
when
had a
I
bad
heard
take, huh?
what's that? What's that?
You had a bad take, I guess. Everybody has a
Yeah.
bad take on that.
Well, no,
Yes.
I had a bet. When I was told, we had to guess what the point spread was going to be on Notre Dame Syracuse football,
Yes. Right. It was 35.
and I said like 35 points or whatever.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And then Boy Green, I think, said the actual spread was 42 or something
Yeah.
like
Right.
that.
Right.
And I said, well, holy moly. I would take Syracuse in the points for sure. You're going to
Yes.
win that game.
You regretted that at the end of the first 3 minutes of the game, didn't you, Bud?
Well,
Have
you
you
know,
ever seen a football game? Let's just start it right there. Have you ever seen a football game where the offense hasn't taken a snap? In this case, Notre Dame hasn't taken the snap, and it's 21-0 already. It was like, I don't understand this. I've never seen, like, they haven't come on the field yet. The quarterback hasn't come on the field. The star running back, Love, has not come on the field yet. And they're up 21-0. It was pick six, deflected punt that they ran in for a touchdown, and then another pick six. 3 in a row, 21-0. And the offense hasn't even taken the field yet. I've never seen that ever watching football myself.
well, my question to you is that, in a court of law, you're never supposed to ask a question to which you
Yeah.
didn't have
I
an
probably won't
answer.
know the answer, but ask it anyway.
And so I'm asking a question I should know, but I don't. I read, about the game, but I didn't read enough about the game in the aftermath of the game. Has that ever happened before?
I don't know. That I knew you were going to ask me that, and I'm not sure, but I should know that. We should know that because that was just about as unusual a thing
Yeah.
as you can see in football. Probably not. I would expect certainly not that exact way, but has a team scored 3 times before an offense came out? I could see that in the history of football being something that happened. I mean, football has a long history. I mean, we're talking about college football, goes way back. If we're just talking about college, if we included the pros, you got even more games. It just seems logical that somewhere along the line, somebody had a really bad team and it all just went upside down and backwards.
And, I guess it's important or interesting enough to say that you and I, you combine our ages, it's a lot of years, and
Yeah.
we've never seen anything like
Never
that.
seen it. I've never seen anything like that.
Now, the game itself,
It was a blowout in Notre Dame, as you said. But Boy Green was there experiencing all the pageantry, and we had posted all kinds of videos, and I chatted with him, obviously, on our Monday live show. Boy, seeing it through someone else's eyes, seeing the videos that he was sending into me that I was posting online, man, that Notre Dame thing's awful cool. Like that tunnel to walk out onto the field, you walk out of the tunnel and they got those banners, the championship banners hung there. The touchdown Jesus at night. It's like lit up in multicolors. It's like, whoa, it looks heavenly. Like it's just crazy. The band after the game continuing their exodus from the stadium and marching through the quad and out, playing songs after the game. You're like, what's happening here? They really do tradition well at Notre Dame. Am I right to say that?
Well, just one other little addition. Dan Devine, who used to coach there and, was very successful, won a national championship. He said that the 4 most beautiful places in the world are the grotto in the spring, the grotto in the summer, the grotto in the fall, and the grotto in wintertime.
Wow.
The grotto is it's just that. It's a grotto with a pond, and they have all the candles that you light.
Yep.
They got the kneelers and everything.
Yep.
Excuse me. As I said last week, and I apologize again because I don't want to sound like, oh boy, look at me, I'm really cool. I had a cool job. Didn't make me cool, but the job was great. And it allowed me to go to all the football capitals, college football capitals in the nation. You name the place, and almost without question, I've probably been there. I mean, whether it's Alabama, Auburn, Ohio State, Michigan, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Florida, Tennessee, Texas. I mean, you name it, I've been there. But I have to say that though all of those things do football like you can't imagine, being a Syracuse person who's only seen a Syracuse football presentation, it's unimaginable how big a deal a college football game is in these communities. Mm-hmm. It's just something to do here. It's not a thing. Right. It's not a religious experience.
Not at that level, no.
Of all the places I've been to, I'd have to say that soup to nuts, the Notre Dame thing, is the greatest of them all. Not only what they do, but what they've got. Touchdown Jesus, Fair Catch Corby, the Golden Dome, the Grotto, the quads, and all the quads, plural, all around the place, et cetera, et cetera. It's a phenomenal place with phenomenal texture and a phenomenal game presentation. By game presentation, I mean like a 2 and 3 day presentation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what he saw was really great. And I understood it, and I sort of teed him up pretty good. And we talked today, and he did acknowledge, just how great it was and all. But the one thing that going to the sports aspect, the game, and I don't know, maybe I'm going to be, pulling the wings off the fly here, but that game was a humiliation.
Yes, it was.
And that was a humiliation.
Yep.
And I really think, and I could be wrong, but I really think that if they said, no, we're going to tee it up and we're going to play 60 minutes, I think this past Saturday, it doesn't mean every Saturday, but this past weekend, I think Notre Dame could have put 100 points on the board against Syracuse.
Especially with that kind of start. I mean, just a 21-0, like in no time at all. It was like, now if they really wanted to play the rest of the game and really play.
And what it says, and I guess it's really. What it says, it just shows you how far away Syracuse is from this, to me, foolishly ridiculous stated goal. This foolish stated goal of, we want to compete for the national championship. Because Notre Dame, if they're going to get in the tournament, they may come into a game somewhere along the line where Notre Dame, is outclassed.
Yeah.
So think about that Notre Dame could get outclassed. That's happened to them before. They could get outclassed like they did against Alabama. That I covered that one game, that national championship. I forget the score, but it was a beatdown. It just shows how far Syracuse is. They may finish in last place in a 17-team league. They may finish at 3-8. And they're coming off a game where they could have lost literally 100-0. Literally, could have been.
I would add this caveat, though. You're right to say it, and it was a humiliation. Everything you said so far is correct. But the one thing that I would offer here is this is a team without a quarterback. Yes, I mean, they rolled out a guy that was recruited for lacrosse.
Right.
He's a walk-on. That was their starter. That was the best that they have behind the guy that got hurt, unfortunately, in September that looked good. I mean, Steve Angeli, the Notre Dame recruit, who decided to leave Notre Dame to come to Syracuse for more opportunity to be the starter, looked genuinely good at the beginning of the season, albeit against some, less than stellar competition, but he looked genuinely good. And they're coming off a year, don't forget, where they brought in Kyle McCord from the great Ohio State, a guy that was the starter for Ohio State the year before, to captain that squad and to bring them to a 10-3 record. So I got to have a little bit of mercy here for Fran Brown. Number one, they have injuries. Well, every team does it this time of year, but they do. He is in the mode of starting some of the young guys because he had a very heavy freshman class, and he's got another heavy one coming in this coming year. And he's trying to turn this into something and start with the youth and build from there. He'll use the portal as he has, of course. But I just wonder how different that game would have been. It wouldn't have been a win, but would it have been at least more reasonable of a college football game if Steve Angeli's in there quarterbacking? I know he's just one guy and he can't do it all. And they couldn't do anything to stop Love. I mean, that guy was running rampant on him. I mean, he's a pretty good player. But I got to believe that Syracuse would at least have been a little more competent offensively than they were with the lacrosse player in there, and then the true freshman coming in for a little while too. It was just like, oh, geez, is there anywhere else to turn here? Is there anyone else on this team that could play quarterback? I mean, I was almost rooting that they put the tight end back in to play quarterback and just run some wildcat for the rest of the game. That might have been better than trying to pass the ball against that Notre Dame defense with those two quarterbacks. It just didn't look like football.
Well, like you said to me, what I said was correct and what you said is correct. So, those are two ways to look at what happened. And I still insist on thinking that they've got a long.
They do.
To go from 17th place if they lose against BC, and they might, to go from 17th place. Think of that. Think of that. 17th place. That sounds ridiculous, but that's college football today. To national prominence, the national competitiveness. You need money. That's what this is all about now, folks. You need money. And I don't know, do we have enough deep pockets in this town, in this area, and among their alumni base to compete with what's out there? So I don't know. And the other thing I don't get.
Hey, Bud, can I just jump in for a second?
Sure.
Since you mentioned BC, I got to go down this real quick road with you because we did it last time. Let's do it again, right? Okay. So BC, who's 1-10 on the season, is playing 3-8 Syracuse at the JMA Dome. It's Syracuse's home field. What's the spread?
Well, the way you're saying it sounds like BC's the favorite. I haven't paid any attention. So I'm guessing you've kind of given it away.
My hand here. I'm just asking you what the spread is.
I'm going to say that BC's favored by 5 points.
Wow. 3.5 is the spread, and it is Boston College favored, a 1-10 team coming into their house. That's how bad the quarterback situation is right now, Bud. That they look at BC, who's won a singular game this year, all right? And they said that team in the other team's building, a team that has 3 wins, is favored by 3.5 points. Wow. That's
here's the thing about the
neutral field, it'd be a touchdown.
Yeah.
Neutral field, it would be a touchdown. BC, a 1-10 team, would be a touchdown favorite over Syracuse. They're just playing MetLife or something. Good grief. That's crazy. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, but going back to the Notre Dame side of things, I don't get football coaches. Notre Dame has got its eyes set on the tournament. And if you get in the tournament, why not? Let's try and win the national championship. And they're ahead by, 1,000 points. And they're still playing Love. I don't get that. I mean, why? This is a violent game.
Yeah.
Why would he be out there playing this kid? And I'm watching that game and I'm thinking, if this kid goes down, he twists an ankle, he sprains a knee, and he goes down
in this game,
and then it jeopardizes him for the rest of the season, or maybe he is gone. How do you just?
But they do it all the time, and then when the injury happens, we're like, aghast. We're all like, no, this can't be right. And then, meanwhile, they do it all the time. So it doesn't happen that often, but they do it all the time, and they get away with it all the time. And then every once in a while, it goes sideways, and then everyone's like, what the heck? Like, Jaden Daniels in there in that blowout game in the pros
Right.
for the Commanders. What are you doing? The game is over. You just punted to the other team at the end of the game to say, mercy, we want out of here. And then you run your quarterback out there and you give him a running play, give him an option play. What the heck are you doing, Dan Quinn? I mean, my goodness. Thank God
Anyway,
he took responsibility for that. But anyway,
Notre Dame played with fire, did not get burned, and I guess good for them. But holy, I can't believe what I'm seeing here. I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
Well, listen, usually around this time of year, us Central New Yorkers, so those in the Syracuse area, we turn to basketball to forget about our woes in football. Last year, we didn't have to do that with a 10-3 football team, but this year we are. The basketball team is very much underway. And last night, Bud, Syracuse, who came in at 4-0, has played nobody like Binghamton, Monmouth. I mean, the slate is not heavy duty usually for any of these teams early in the season.
Right.
But Syracuse, nonetheless, a 4-0 team, not yet ranked, playing a team that was at one point number one ranked. I think the rankings on ESPN, I don't know if it's different on the two polls, but they were ranked number 3. I think they might be 2 in the other poll right now. Houston, a powerhouse. That's Kelvin Sampson's team these days, who's been making runs the last few years in the tournament. So Houston's become a powerhouse in recent years in college basketball. And so Syracuse and their very young squad with Carmelo Anthony's son, Cayenne, on the roster, and Melo in attendance, along with Lala right there, front row, playing against this Houston team. And Syracuse took them to overtime, Bud. I mean, they put up a battle. They were down 11 points with a couple of minutes left in the game and came all the way back to tie it. Had the ball in the final possession of regulation. I'd argue, although you're not going to get this kind of call typically, but I thought on the final shot, William Kyle got the ball in close. He didn't raise up very high, but 2 guys collapsed on him. He got slapped like 3 times. No foul call. It goes into overtime, and then Houston does prevail in overtime. But Syracuse puts up an amazing fight against a very, very highly rated team. Is this, shall we say, a thing to come here? Has Adrian Autry, who took over for Jim Boeheim just a couple of seasons ago, does he have a roster this year, Bud, that is going to get this team back to the NCAA tournament, back to viability in the ACC? Because they've been kind of out of it, even in the latter Boeheim years, kind of out of it in terms of being very viable, not only in the national scene, but even in their conference. Can Autry get them back this year? That's what the Central New York basketball fan wants.
I think I said this a couple of shows ago. So if not, I wish I said it because this is what I've been thinking. In all the preseason prognostications and whatnot, Syracuse was almost totally ignored. Somebody had them in a decent, like 18th or something, but nobody else has them anywhere near the top 25 in all these deals. And I said all along, and what happened last night doesn't sway me at all to get off of it. Even though you missed 17 free throws, and that's like you can't win a basketball game, any basketball game, missing 17 free throws. I think this team's going to the tournament. I think it's, why not?
It feels like this finally may be the year. And by the way, in that game last night, Donnie Freeman, their second best player, arguably, did not play. He's hurt.
Right. The thing is, and I don't mean to denigrate, college sports or whatever, but it's how big of a deal really is it to get in the 68-team field? I mean, you don't have to be UCLA and with Bill Walton in center. You don't have to be that.
But these are the lean years, Bud. These have been the lean years.
These have been lean years. And I think it's time for them, the lean years, to get a little fat on them. And I believe that this is the team. And here's why. They are very deep. They got very guys. Deep. Now, I don't know if 1 through 10 has got, if you can meld it all down, I don't know if that talent matches anybody else's 1 through 10 among the biggies. Mm-hmm. But the idea, their number 10 guy, whoever it is, it's going to be a jumble all season long. Mm-hmm. Their number 10 guy is going to be a lot better than a lot of other people's number 10 guy what that matters. Yep. And so for the people who always complain that Jim Boeheim never developed his bench and didn't play guys past, the 6th or 7th guy, and I never really had a problem with that because he said, look, I don't believe these guys get tired. I personally didn't believe that either, but I still think you have to develop because if Freeman gets hurt, you want somebody in there who can play. Right. But anyway, I think it has depth. How much of that Earl Weaver used to call it, the manager of the Baltimore Orioles, he used to call it deep depth. How deep their depth goes with talent, we'll find that out.
Right.
No, I'm here to say it's a tournament team. And what they did last night, I think, emboldens me to really stand firm on that prediction.
All right. One more college ditty here before we move to the pros. And I want to talk specifically with you about baseball. And by the way, today's broadcast brought to you by our friends at Cam's Pizzeria, where there's always love at first slice. Let me ask you about Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, because it's becoming more and more clear every day, Bud, whether he ends up being the next coach of the New York Football Giants. And I'm not saying that he will, but I'd be interested in at least them interviewing him. Or whether he's the next coach at LSU or whoever the heck else is going to throw this guy some serious cash. But Lane Kiffin is getting offered a lot of cash, and it looks like he's not going to be at Ole Miss too much longer.
You know, he has tried to play this ridiculous game of not tipping his hand, but he's tipped his hand by not tipping his hand. And he said the other day something that I thought was either damning or revelatory. Take your choice. But he said, look, this is a different generation of football players in college.
Mm-hmm.
These guys come and go. They leave all the time, and they almost always leave for financial reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So what he was saying is, I've been given permission by the system. I've been given permission by the players themselves to pursue different opportunities for money. Now, he's certainly going to leave and head elsewhere. I think he'll stay in the college game, at least for now. I've read, like you have read, that he's looking at a 10-year, $100 million contract. And I get it. Okay, no one has to tell me about, capitalism and, money and all that. But,
it's America, Jack.
I just don't understand how loosey-goosey these coaches are with their families. They always call my team, this is a family. We're committed to each other.
Yes.
I love these guys. Up.
Or how about when they go into living rooms and say, I'm going to take care of your son?
Yeah. It's comical how hypocritical everything about college sports has become.
I know, it has.
And Lane Kiffin is the poster child. Now, one could say, hey, man, $100 million. Lane Kiffin has got tens of millions of dollars already. So while the money is a lot, it's a lot to somebody like you and me. We don't have Lane Kiffin money.
Yeah.
So really, how much money does he need or what? Because if he said to Mississippi, hey, I'll stay, but I need $70 million over the next 10 years, they'd give it to him in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
$100 million changes his life over those 10 years. So
Anyway,
I get it. I get capitalism. I get you can never be too skinny and you never be too rich. I get that. But I still think this is a smarmy. It's dirty. College sports is a dirty business now, and he's just the latest guy. And I'm telling you, he basically said, I repeat, I've been given permission by the system to do what I'm going to do, and I'm leaving. And hope you win the tournament, boys, but I'm out the door, because there's no way he's going to coach in the tournament if he's headed out the door.
I'd like to get in on some of that capitalism, Bud. It's some pretty good cash being thrown around for people to leave, for people to come, for people to hang for a little while and to move somewhere else. It's so crazy. Today's broadcast brought to you by our friends at Cam's Pizzeria. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. We'd love for you to be part of our little growing family. All right, 30 seconds from Cam's. And then when we come back, Bud, we're talking Mets making a trade. And what will be the fate of Pete Alonso? That's right after this.
When you think of Cam's Pizzeria, think about two of your favorites, their zesty buffalo chicken wing pizza or their tasty chicken bacon ranch. Over 16 specialty pizzas made fresh daily with the best ingredients. Indulge in their homemade calzones, subs, wraps, salads, and their famous cannolis for dessert. They're all made with love just for you. Order online for 10% off at camspizza.com. Locations in Camillus and Oswego. Cam's Pizzeria. It's love at first slice.
All right, we are back. It is Brunch with Bud, the Manchild show with Boy Green Digital. No Boy Green today, but the Manchild holding solo court here with Bud Poliquin, my former radio partner of 16 plus years, a former columnist for the Post-Standard and Syracuse.com. All right, Bud, let's talk some pro sports, and let's start with one of your faves, and that is baseball. My Mets getting busy here on a blustery fall day, trading Brandon Nimmo off for a guy that you're pretty familiar with, Marcus Semien from the Texas Rangers. So, all right, Ranger boy, tell me what my Mets are getting, because it's a vet for a vet, straight up. We don't see this very often in baseball.
The ages are pretty close. It's 35 and 32. The money's pretty close. So this is really a baseball trade. Like usually these things are money, salary dumps.
Right.
Or, somebody's picking up a prospect for down the road. This is for the here and now. The Mets think they got a player, and they did. The Rangers think they got a player, and they did. And I think at the end of the day, at the end of the season next year, I think both teams are going to say, boy, that was a deal that helped both teams. I think it's a really good deal for the Mets. They're giving up a lot of offense, but they're bringing in a guy who nobody has a discouraging word to say about this guy. He is a pro's pro. He plays every day.
Plays multiple positions.
He's been a second baseman predominantly. Well, he was a shortstop for a while, too. That's right.
Shortstop, second, third. He can play.
That's right. But I think the Mets are getting somebody that I think they need. If they can hold on to Alonso, I think they're a better team with this trade if they hold on to Alonso. So I like it, and I think you're going to like this guy. And what's really good about him, he's one of these guys who is a steady dude. I mean, he's not going to get too high. He's not going to get too low. He's going to play hard every day. He's a pro. And he's going to be loved in the clubhouse, and the fans are going to love him. And I'm saying all this. He's coming off of a mediocre year offensively.
Yeah.
But he's a really good player, and you're going to like him as a Mets fan.
So the Mets are getting a pretty good player. They're giving away a pretty good player. We'll see if it helps the moxie. And just quickly on Alonso, it sounds like there are kind of three suitors at the moment, Bud. Someone could get into this Pete Alonso sweepstakes at the last minute. But right now it looks like the Mets, who could, look, they got a crazy rich owner who almost feels like if he wants a guy, there's no way that guy's going to get away from money, because this guy has more money than God. All right. Then there's the Boston Red Sox, who have a high interest in Alonso. And we're also hearing about the Cincinnati Reds, perhaps. Do you think Alonso stays? Do you think he goes?
Well, it's funny. If you didn't sign him last year, when you could have gotten him for less money, I assume he's going to need to get more money now coming off the year he had.
Well, what they did is they signed him to a short-termer, and then he had the opt-out and he opted out.
Yeah. And I think they got him. I just asked the question, if you didn't sign him last year, why are you going to sign him being a year older for more money?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they should sign him, because he's a danger in the box, and the fans love him, and he loves New York. But I'm not so sure he's gonna, if they didn't do it last year, why would this year? So the place where he would really be great, not that he's not great in New York, if the Red Sox got him with that, with the green monster out there, I think he could hit 50 home runs there. And if he went to Cincinnati, and by the way, Boston has a lot of talent too. I mean, that's if they get him,
yep.
That team is a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes to Cincinnati in that ballpark, he's going to have 50 home runs there too.
Yeah,
so wherever he goes, if he went to Boston or Cincinnati, he's going to win 50. He's going to hit 50 home runs, assuming good health. If he goes to Boston, that's ready-made for the playoffs right away. Goes to Cincinnati, young team on the way up with a really good manager. So I don't know. I'm going to say Boston. And I say if they sign him, then they're not going to sign Bregman. They're not going to have two big contracts.
I mean, I won't be heartbroken if he leaves the Mets. I think he is a player with some limitations, but the one thing the Mets don't have a lot of are power guys, and he's a power guy. So I don't know how you give him up. You better get something else then. You better bring something else in, to complement Juan Soto and the rest of that lineup, Lindor and the rest of that lineup. All right, Bud, let's move over to the world of professional football. A couple of interesting stories that I wanted to hit up with you on. One of them is Shedeur Sanders. We've talked about the young man. He finally got his chance to start a game. He becomes, with his win, they won a game. Yes, the Cleveland Browns won a game. Shedeur Sanders becomes the first rookie in his first start to win a game for the Cleveland Browns since 1995. That's 30 years ago. That's how long it's been that a rookie in his first start has gotten a win. And they've had a lot of quarterbacks, Bud, so there have been plenty of rookies.
Oh, yeah.
They're swing one time in their first start, and he gets it done. So I was saying it to Boy Green last week when we were talking about Shedeur on the field and getting this opportunity. With everything that's happened with the way the Browns have treated him, I actually find myself oddly now rooting for Shedeur because I'm so angry with how poorly, from a PR perspective, the Browns have handled his situation. Give me your thoughts on that. Are you rooting for Shedeur? Are you happy the kid went out and got a win? Tell me about it.
Well, I don't know why I would root against him. What I said last week, and I'm pretty clear on this, is that everybody's talking about the guy, and there's a group of people in the football biz, scouts and that bunch, who have dismissed him. He can't play, they say. And it seemed to be a semi-universal feeling. He dropped like a stone in the draft, and now you got to wait for 10, 11 games before you put him on the field. So there are people who would say, I'm dismissing him, he can't play. And then there are people saying, boy, he's being mistreated. He has to get on the field. He's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. And I said last week, I'm Switzerland. I don't know what he can do. I'm not going to sit here and say he can't play. I don't know that. And I don't know that he can play. I don't know that either. And what he did the other day was really nice, except that it was just another. I mean, he didn't light up anything. He had a
solid
nice game.
It's
a solid game. I mean, he wasn't Dan Marino. Okay,
no,
he had a nice game. And let's see what he can do, going forward. But do I root for him? Sure, why not? Let's see what he can do. And the thing is, I do like him because he gets close. He gets really close to being like an arrogant jerk, but he stops short of it.
He does stop short.
Yes, and I think that's pretty cool because he wants to say something.
Yes, he wants to ham it up.
No, I'll back up. It's a 55-mile speed limit. I'll drive 54. I'll be fine. Mm-hmm. I want to drive 70, but I'll drive 54. I won't speed. And I like that. I like that. And we'll see what he does this week. As we all know, he's been named to be the starter.
Yeah, I was just going to say they botched it initially, of course. Earlier on Monday, they were hedging, but they have now said that even if Dylan Gabriel is out of the concussion protocol, which might be somewhat expected, that Shedeur will start again this coming weekend. So we will get to see him start his second game in a row for the Cleveland Browns. Look better, certainly, than he did in that mop-up duty that he got the week before. All right, another quickie on the NFL, Bud. I ask you just a very direct question. Just give me a very direct answer. Are the Rams the best team in the NFL?
Wow. No. Here's what I'll say no. Because and this is a familiar.
It's just this week's flavor, this month's flavor, right? Is that what you're going to say?
No, what I'm going to say is that this NFL league now, the National Football League, right now this season, is it's really wide open. I mean, it really is. I think there's probably if you'd asked me this question and said research this, I could tell you there's X amount of teams that can go to the Super Bowl. Right. 5, 6, 7 of them. And of the 5, 6, 7 that could go there, any one of those 5, 6, 7 could win it. Are the Rams, you said, are they the best team in football? No, because I believe there are 5 or 6 or as the kids say, 6, 7. There's 6, 7 best teams in pro football right now. And they're certainly one of them. But can I sit here and tell you on a neutral field, if it's a neutral field game, that they're better than the Lions, the Eagles, the Bills, right now the Ravens, Seattle? I don't know that, and I think this is great. In past years, you had 2, 3, 4 teams. Now you got 6, 7, 8 teams. I mean, I know there are some teams that I'm waiting for them to top. The Steelers. That was always fool's gold. The Steelers are going to end up with a really bad record. The Jaguars, are they going to fall down? I don't know. I think Houston's got a really tough schedule down the stretch, I think. I know the Chargers have a very tough schedule down the stretch. No, they're not the best team, but they tied for first with a lot of other teams to be the best team, yes. Is that a Weasley answer? Of course it is.
Yeah, it's a Weasley answer, but, I'm used to that kind of thing from you. Okay, we'll end it with this one. we have to go into a different world here. I'm going to have to put on my spectacles here for a moment because the print is so small. But Ja'Marr Chase, after sitting out a fully suspended game in the NFL for allegedly spitting on Jalen Ramsey and denying it in the postgame, has now issued a proper apology. I'm going to read it word for word, Bud. Here it is. To my team, fans, the Bengals organization, and the Steelers organization, and the NFL community, please know that I am speaking from my heart when I say I take full responsibility for my actions during last Sunday's game at Pittsburgh. What I did was wrong. The circumstances don't matter. My passion for the game is no excuse. There's zero place in our sport or in life for that level of disrespect. I want to personally apologize to everyone within the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. I let my emotions in the moment get the better of me. I can only hope and trust you know none of it represents who I am, not as a competitor, teammate, or person. I also want to apologize to my coaches, teammates, and organization for not meeting my own standards as the leader of this team. This has been a tough season with some incredibly hard losses. We've all been frustrated, but instead of stepping up with calm, class, and leadership, I let you down. My having to sit out yesterday's game makes my actions even more inexcusable. I won't let it happen again. Finally, I want to apologize to my fans. I do not want to take anyone who wears my jersey for granted. I do not take my position as a role model lightly. As someone who strives to lead with character and authenticity, I should have taken immediate accountability for what happened. I am committed to earning back your respect, not just with words, but with my actions day after day on and off the field. I promise to keep learning from this and to set a higher standard for myself moving forward. With respect, Ja'Marr Chase. Very well written apology. Well, Bud, I did not know that Ja'Marr had such good writing abilities.
Skills.
Yes.
Well, it is absolute lunacy to think that he wrote that. Okay, anybody who would think that he wrote that is.
I'm sure that was written by a very fine PR person in their organization, and he signed off on it and said, yes.
Yeah, so somebody wrote it. He said, yeah, sure, go ahead. I don't care. And you're making me sound great. So,
sounds really great. I sound like a really good guy.
Yeah. It's totally absurd. And then I love when he says, I take full responsibility. Who else is responsible?
Right.
It was his spit out of his mouth through his face guard. Who else would be responsible? So when they say I take full responsibility, duh, really? You do? You're not going to blame it on the teammate or a guy in the stands? I mean, ridiculous.
We've seen year over year, Bud, apologies in sports.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Believe me, it's beautifully written. Here's the thing. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. This is a statement that was released.
Yeah, he put it on social media.
So he didn't even speak the words himself.
I don't think so. No.
Think of the lunacy of this. If I'm wrong, then flog me.
As far as I know, right? I'm not 100% because I don't live in Cincinnati. I'm not following their every action. But no, I think it was a written statement, and he published it out. Put it out on his social media platform.
So number one, okay, you didn't write it. I don't think. I assume that he didn't speak it. So what's the point here? You couldn't even stand before. You're apologizing to everybody, but standing before nobody. You don't write it, and you probably, I don't know. Did you read it enough to even be able to recite, not recite it, but to read with some sort of clarity if you were in front of a microphone? I mean, the whole thing is just like you said, his agent or the team publicist, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of hooey, I mean,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's not. It's a heat of the moment. I don't forgive it, but it was stupid. But there are a lot of worse things that are going on in football and in the world than this. So I don't want to say, put him in a cell and throw away the key. I'm not saying that, but I am saying, man, if you did it and you really feel this way, stand up and say it from the heart in your own words. If you have to refer to your notes, go ahead. But
yeah.
Crazy.
Well, It is what it is. Welcome to the new world. It made me think, Bud. And I'm sure that you probably have heard this, but many years ago, I decided I wanted to drag you out socially to a comedy club to watch comedy, and I took you to go see the great Frank Caliendo,
Yes, you did.
who I know you tremendously enjoyed. And I won't forget so many of the things that happened that night. One of the things you said to me at the end of that night was, you know what I really liked about Frank? You know, he was terrific. He had me laughing in the aisles, great stuff, all that sports stuff, loved it all those voices, phenomenal. The guy didn't drop a single expletive. You loved it that he was clean as a whistle. He doesn't curse, which I appreciate that in comics too. Why do you need the effect of curse words if you can get away with it without? And Frank does that extremely, extremely well. But Frank Caliendo did a reading of the LeBron James goodbye letter to Cleveland in Morgan Freeman's voice. He does a great Morgan Freeman.
Yes, he does. Yes,
and he does. And he reads the LeBron letter with, all the right pauses and effects. So it's not just sounds exactly like Morgan Freeman's voice. He's reading it in a dramatic way, I'm leaving, I mean, I can't even try to do it. I mean, I can't do Morgan Freeman, but it has me in stitches every time I ever hear you. Go. If you have never seen it, Bud, go check it out, like on YouTube, like after we disconnect today, you will love it. All right. And I was just thinking this letter, like I'd love to hear Caliendo read this letter in Morgan Freeman's voice of Jamar Chase apologizing for the spitting incident. Because he'd have us all in stitches. So Caliendo, I'm giving you your next bit. Go from the LeBron letter to the Jamar Chase apology letter here that I just read verbatim. All right. And read that in Morgan Freeman's voice. And you would be entertaining all of us for quite some time. Oh, good. Lots of laughs there. All right, Bud, if you have a final thought, I'll give you one. Otherwise, we're going to, as they say, put a nice, neat bow on this brunch with Bud.
I'll give a kind of a somber and then a good one.
Okay.
The somber one is that I think it's a sad reflection. See, I love pro sports over college sports because, there's no hypocrisy. We're here to pay you.
We all know they're getting paid and they're getting paid.
We're paying you to win. If you don't win, we're going to get rid of you. Right. And by the way, if you can help us win, we don't care about your background. We don't care what you've done. If you can help us win, you're on the team. Mm-hmm. If you commit the great sin of being not so good anymore because you got old, we're going to throw you onto the street and we're going to pay you and we expect you to win. And then everybody understands that. There's no hypocrisy. That doesn't mean there's a lot of pride, because what the New Orleans Saints are doing, a horrible team having a horrible year, and to bring in Justin Tucker because he might be able to kick a little ball through the uprights and our other kicker hasn't been able to do that. Okay, he can help us win, so we bring him in. Yeah, but he molested all these people, and we don't care. He can kick a football. So I think that's not cool whatsoever. But, hey, babe, this is what we do. We try to win, and we don't care. And again, I told this before, and I'll say it again. Back when I was covering the San Diego Clippers, Gene Shue, the famous, he played in the league.
Remember what?
Big-time coach, Gene Shue, Shue. Look him up, kids. He put together a crazy roster of the San Diego Clippers with a bunch of scalawags.
And they had a nickname for them, didn't they?
I don't remember. No.
Oh, you don't remember? Okay. There was a famous nickname. But go ahead, finish.
But anyway, they a bunch of scalawags and, ne'er-do-wells and all that. And I said, Gene, what's with this bunch? What are you doing? And he says, buddy boy, he says, I'd play Charles Manson in the backcourt if it could help us win a game.
That's not good.
And I said to myself, there it is. That's the pro thing. And here's Justin Tucker all these years later.
No hypocrisy. All right. What's the good thing?
The good thing is this is Thanksgiving week. We have those of us who have been blessed, and we have a lot to be grateful for and be thankful for. And I appreciate our relationship. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for being a little part of your podcast. And I hope you have a great Thursday.
All right.
And we'll see you after the holiday.
All right. Couldn't have said it any better. All right. There it is. Another edition of Brunch with Bud in the books.